So I'm breaking all of the rules this year, and this is how and why I'm doing that. It's not nearly as complicated as it seems, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can do the same thing. Is putting both of my kids in the same class breaking the rules? Well, if I'm going by the suggested grade for those classes, technically, but I'm going to show you how we can totally bypass that whole thing and how we can do this. It's going to save me time, it's going to save me money, and it's going to save me a little bit of sanity too. Welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy, the Handmade Homeschooler. Today, I'm going to show you how to combine your kids even when the suggested grade isn't exactly where your kid is, and how you can do that too. So grab your coffee, I got mine, and I got my books, and I'm gonna show you what we're doing this year. If you haven't yet, make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button, and down below in the description box, I have links to free curriculum trials, all kinds of cool things down there, plus our Christian homeschooling group link is down there as well. Okay, so technically I'm breaking the rules. I'm not supposed to be putting one of my kids in this class, but I think I can make it work. Okay, so what are the courses that I'm combining? I am combining my kids in two different classes, one for Bible and one for literature. The ages of my kids is kind of where I'm breaking the rules here. So I have two children. They are 4 school years apart. I have a child going into 7th grade and a child going into 11th grade. So we have one that's, you know, he's gonna be a junior in high school. Cannot believe I'm saying that. And then I have one who's still in middle school. So let's take a look at the classes and I will explain this further. So the first class, I asked you guys your opinion on this a couple weeks ago in a video, and all of you guys, I did not have one person who said keep them separate. Everybody said put them together. So I'm taking your advice. My husband and I talked it over. It seems like it's the best option to do. So the curriculum is called Great Christian Stories. This is a generations class. Both of these classes are generations curriculum. Now, this one is for grades 7 through 9. Okay, so this would be a little bit lower in the grade levels for my 11th grader. Yes, he's in 11th grade, but this is a high school curriculum because it goes to grade 9, okay? So even though on the website you're gonna see this listed in the middle school curriculum, this also bleeds over into high school. Let's look at the 4 books that you're gonna be reading with this curriculum. We have Robinson Crusoe. So far, this is the last one that I have to read, and then I have all of the books in this curriculum read. The Holy War, I just finished this one. Fox's Book of Martyrs, I read this one over the summer. And Corrie ten Boom's The Hiding Place, which is one of my all-time favorite books, like in the top 5 of my favorite books, and I read it last year. Okay, I did not buy 2 sets of these books. Okay, I have 1 set of these books. I already have 2 copies of Robinson Crusoe and Corrie ten Boom's book. So the other 2 they'll have to share, but that's okay. We can take turns. I did buy 2 workbooks. Okay, so this is how I'm going to make this work. They're each going to have their own workbook, and 2 of the books they're going to have to share. The other 2 I have a secondary copy. All right, so that's the logistics of it. Now, because this bleeds over into grades 7 through 9, grade 7 is where my youngest is already. So this may be a little advanced for him because it does go into high school levels, but we have different expectations for each child, okay? So the 7th grader, his answers might be a little shorter. His answers might not be as complete, but it's going to challenge him to do a little bit more, especially because his brother's going to be in his class. So we're gonna be doing this class together and we're gonna be answering questions together. So when he answers those questions in there and then we talk about their answers, he's going to get a wider range of answers, because not only is he gonna get the answer that's in the back of the book like he normally would, but he's gonna see how somebody a couple years older answers those questions. So it's a good way for kids to see somebody else who's older than them model how someone a little bit above their grade level would answer that question. So it's not a bad thing here. We can share. Okay, so there's the first class. Second class that I'm going to be doing, if I don't drop it, the second class that I'm going to be doing with the kids is how Jesus built his church. Okay, so again, I'm totally breaking the rules here, but this is gonna work. I'm gonna show you. This is totally gonna work. Okay, so this is history for grade 7. This is the brand new history curriculum from Generations. I purchased it. I've read the first unit plus a couple of chapters. So I'm in like chapter 9, I think now. This is such a good book. I love this book. This is an excellent curriculum even for adults. And if you get this, I highly recommend read it with your kids. We need this too, moms. We need this too. Okay, so I did the same thing. So I have one textbook. They're gonna have to share, it's okay. You know, limited funds here, guys. So we have one textbook and then I got 2 workbooks, okay? So each kid gets their own workbook, just like the literature curriculum. They're going to read. I've already read it. I already have my notes. I read and I take notes in my spiral notebook. So I have all my notes there that I can just review before the lesson because I'm tired in the morning. That's going to be very helpful for me. And then we're going to do the lesson. This is not going to be for history though. Here's where I'm breaking the rules. Because this is a church history program, and especially because my 7th grader really wanted to learn about early American history this year, we're going to be using this one for Bible. And I believe that this is a great resource for Bible curriculum. Just like most generations things, you can use them for Bible curriculum. Okay, so is my 7th grader especially doing 2 histories? Yeah, but don't tell him. Keep it to yourself, okay? The worst thing that could happen is that he sees that he's doing history and not Bible, but he's not gonna care. Okay, so he's doing that for Bible, and I'm also counting it for Bible for my 11th grader as well. One of the reasons I know that I can do this is when I get the workbook, I really look at the level of questions that they're asking. Are they asking simple questions, or are they asking critical thinking questions? And these are critical thinking questions. So while my 7th grader might give one answer, my 11th grader might give a completely, expanded form of that answer, which I would expect. I would expect to see my 7th grader write at a 7th grade level, and I expect to see 11th grade work out of my 11th grader. And I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. And if it doesn't, then I can say, okay, I can compare the 2. And if my 7th grader is writing better than my 11th grader, I could say, okay, we need to step this up a little bit. I expect a little bit more out of you. You need to write a little bit more. I want 2 paragraphs from now on for this answer. Something to that effect. So your expectations for the answers for each child is going to be a little bit different, and it should be on level to where they are at. And that's why we can combine kids in different grades for the same subject or the same book, is because we have different expectations for one child. Just like when you do, a curriculum where you have maybe a bunch of elementary kids, you don't expect your kindergartner to be writing the answers that your 4th or 5th grader is going to be writing. It's going to be the same thing. It's just we're doing it at a higher level, so we have to make a couple little tweaks to make that work. We can combine kids because we have different expectations. So just like at the lower level where we combine elementary students, it's going to be the same thing. It's just we're going to be, doing it on a different level. So it's just a more advanced version of table schooling with kindergarten through 5th grade. So one of the things that I noticed when I was reading through all of this book last week was that the first couple of chapters have different martyrs in them, and they tell briefly of their story. And one of the books for the literature curriculum is Fox's Book of Martyrs. And many of the figures here are talked about in this book and vice versa. So this is going to be a great book to kind of pair with their Bible curriculum. And even though it's not the first one that they're supposed to do in the school year, I'm probably going to switch this around and do this one first, just because it goes well with what they're talking about in their Bible curriculum. So it kind of plays off of each other, and they're going to have a deeper understanding of those central figures, and it's just going to kind of expand upon their understanding of the whole story. I think this is going to be good. I definitely read the material myself to get a good idea of the reading level, because here's the thing, let's say this book especially, if this book had a lower reading level, you know, if this was written at like a 5th or a 6th grade reading level, I probably would not have my 11th grader do this curriculum, because it would be something that's just, you know, so far below his reading and comprehension level that it would not be challenging for him at all. I feel like this was something that even held my attention. This, you know, this is a really well-written book, even for adults. So I would get this for a family study, easy. I would get this for a personal study, even though it's a little large. I've been reading about 1 chapter a day, and over the last week I have gotten through to, you know, the end of Unit 1, and I have a really good idea of how the book is written and things like that, and basically what they're supposed to do in here. So because these books, and, you know, these books as well in the literature curriculum, are not easy books. You know, I mean, John Bunyan is, you know, he writes books for adults. I mean, yes, the Pilgrim's Progress and the Holy War can be understood by children, and they have children's versions of those books. Those books are also written for adults. So The Hiding Place is an adult book. Yes, kids are reading it, but, you know, you have an adult to help them with their understanding. So these books are not, you know, easy children's books. And if they were, this would be something that I would not have my 11th grader do. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about putting older kids together. What is the reading level, and what do the workbooks look like? And is this something that I can make a little bit easier or more difficult for the students who need it? So make sure that you take a look at that when you're picking these curriculum to go together with your kids. So yes, I am breaking the rules, but it's all good. It's all good. He can still get a high school credit for that. That's easily a high school course. You know, it does say up to 9th grade, which is high school. And here's the other thing about Generations too, and this is in the big How to Start with Generations blog post that I have written. It's on my website. I will link it down below for you. A lot of their curriculum is made to do together family style. Now, they have suggested grades at the top, and I'll show you. Like this one, it says level 7. Which means grade 7 for them, okay? But here's the big but with this, with Generations curriculum. It's a suggestion. And I would say that for any curriculum, it's a suggestion. It's not a hard line, has to be that grade, okay? So if my child is in 6th grade and wants to do that one, as long as he can read it and understand it, I would put him in that class. Same thing for, obviously, kids who are older. As long as they can read the material and understand it, that's totally fine. With Generations, their elementary can be done at any time in any order. Same thing for their middle, and same thing for their high school. You can mix it up however you want. My suggestion, be loose with it. You don't have to be so rigid with all of the grade levels. You can combine, you can mix and match, you can do it however you want. Check and see. When you go into the Generations website, there's a button at the drop-down menu that says elementary school, middle school, high school, and you can basically pick any ones that you want for that stage of development there for your kids. All right, that's my video. I'm breaking rules this year, but I'm not sad about it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna take a little bit of a load off my plate because I don't have to read 8 different books You know, I'm not gonna have to read so much, and I can shelve things and bring things back out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We can always do something else. I bought a ton of Generations curriculum, so I can always split it up if I need to or do whatever. So I'm not sweating it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for your help on making this decision. I do appreciate you all so very much. I will see you next time. Have a great rest of your day and happy homeschooling.